Guys, Loma Lite, fiber session number 2. Today we will talk a little more about fiber in general, and then why people that are more plant-based or vegetarian, they eat more fiber and what is the advantages that they have. So it's important not only for weight management, but it's important for health in general. Let's take a look on that. We will talk about the results from the Advantage Health study. You see here that among vegan and compared to other vegetarians and non-vegetarians, hypertension is the lowest among vegans. So you see the rates of diabetes also among vegan and lacto-ovo-vegetarian. They were the lowest level compared to non-vegetarian. The risk of metabolic syndrome, again, the the black columns here meaning increased risk. So they have increased triglycerides in the non-vegetarian group. They have increased glucose, increased diastolic and systolic and diastolic blood pressure. They have more waist circumference and they have a higher BMI. The only one that they have lower is the HDL. That is, HDL is the good cholesterol, so it would not be a good idea to have it if higher. And then if you compare semi-vegetarian and vegetarian, they all have lower risk of those metabolic markers. In terms of cholesterol, the vegan and lacto-ovo-vegetarian are the diets that have lowest cholesterol compared to pesco and non-vegetarians. Then weight, again, for male and for female, the least weight in the groups, in these groups is for vegans. Then you might say, okay, so I need to be vegan. But if you check what vegans eat, you see that the cause, the explanation why vegans have all of these levels of metabolic syndrome in weight and BMI, lower weight and lower BMI, as we saw in the last slide, is because they have a specific, they have a particular way to eat. Let's see what is happening. They eat more fruit. So in this green here, you have what is happening to vegans compared to non-vegetarians. Like here we have the list of vegan, lacto-ovo, pesco, and semi-vegetarian compared to non-vegetarian. Pesco and semi-vegetarian. You see, all compared to all the groups, they are the ones, the vegans are the ones that eat more fruits. The vegans are the ones that eat more vegetables. The vegans are the one way more consumption of avocado. They didn't eat much potatoes, but still they were the group that eat more potatoes compared to the others. They eat more whole grains. They eat more beans. Come on, we are talking about beans. In the third lecture about fiber, we will talk specifically about beans. But see, it's not because they don't eat meat. Maybe it is partially, but you consider the foods that they eat the most. They eat more soybeans, they eat more nuts and seeds, and then all of these groups here, meat, dairy, eggs, added fat, sweets, snack foods, beverage, drinking water, beverage, they eat less, and they drink more water. So if you put the starchy foods, they eat more sweet potatoes. They eat more white potatoes, but then fried potatoes, they are the least one. They eat more whole grains. I mentioned about that. Refined grains, they eat the least. Mixed grains, they eat the most. How about protein from plants? They eat more legumes. They don't eat much of the meat analogs, but they eat a lot of soybean and tofu, more than any of those groups. They eat more soy milk. They don't eat much peanuts. That's interesting. And neither peanut butter. It's between vegans and ovo-lacto vegetarian. They are the biggest ones. And then they eat nuts more than anybody else and seeds more than anybody else. So now you have a characteristics. They are they are having these advantages mostly because they eat more fruits, more vegetables, more whole grains, more legumes, more nuts, more avocado, more soy, and more fibery foods. Come on. This is a food plate guide set up by the School of Public Health Nutrition Department in Harvard. You see, in Harvard, they have four groups: fruits and vegetables. They put fruits in a lower level, then they put whole grains, and then put healthy protein. They don't have here a fourth group, as we have in the United States, a fifth group that is for dairy. No, this is water. And then they put you should eat healthy oils. But they talk about protein. Choose fish, poultry, beans, and nuts. Limit red meats and cheese. Avoid bacon, cold cuts, and other processed meats. Is enough for me. They are not vegetarian, but you don't need to eat much protein anyways. But they include nuts, they include beans, they include seeds. They didn't mention seeds, sorry. I was looking for that. And this is the Canadian list. Again, those are scientific food guides. What I mean by scientific? Well, unfortunately, the myplate.gov that is set up for the Americans by the United States government, it is not scientific. It's industry-based food guide. That means that all the sugar industry, all the Dairy Council of America, all the meat and all the processed foods companies, corporations have this strong lobby, and they told the authorities, hey, if you want to make a food guide here, we have to have our input. Otherwise, we are not going to give money to you. We are not going to elect your senators. We are not going to support your health systems and prevention things. And then we bow down. Oh, okay. So that's our food guide. Come on, guys. We could do better. In Canada, they did better. I just came from Canada 2 days ago. And then I told them several times, and I showed this guide, the food guide pyramid, food guide plate that they developed, and they excluded every single researcher that belongs to the food industry. Hey, you guys cannot be here. Well, but we want to give some advice. No, we don't need your advice, because advice from the food industry is biased. And that's what I mean. They want to sell. They want to sell. They want to sell their product. They don't care about your health. But when researchers put together, as they did in Canada, and that's what they did in Harvard also, and they put together things without the influence of the food industry, they come out with something like that. You need fruits and vegetables on your left, and that's let's go there. You have half of your meal should be fruits and vegetables. Then 1/4 of your meal, 25%, should be proteins. And in these proteins, you have meats there. You have cheese, or chicken. You have soybeans. You have beans. You have garbanzo beans. You have nuts, and you have seeds. And then you have eggs and dairy, but you have tofu. So what you mean is that you don't need to have a big amount of protein from meat sources, from animal sources, if you have a variety of sources of protein, as you see here. And then whole grains, eat whole grains. Choose whole grain food. Don't eat carbohydrates that are processed and refined. That's very simple. I like it. We have one case of a physician that came to our full plate diet just to illustrate the importance of fiber. And then he had diabetes, he was taking insulin, metformin, and a beta blocker. After 2 months on the program, eating 40 grams of fiber per day, he lost 14 pounds. He is zeroed his insulin, no more insulin. His metformin, he have that one, and his blood pressure medication also helped. Now, how did he do it? Well, he found this bread, the Davis Killer bread. One slice has 5 grams of fiber. So he decided to eat 5 slices per day. Sorry, that's a math problem here. In fact, he was eating 5 slices per day. That was 20 grams of fiber. And then he decided to eat 1 cup of beans a day. That is our prescription for patients that want to lose weight. Only with these two, he almost have this 40 grams, 37 grams, only eating 4 slices of bread and 1 cup of bean. Okay, 1 cup of bean is a lot of beans, but then he decided to eat only fruits and vegetables per day and only whole grains. Then I put more, 10 grams more. And then he said that he's going to eat nuts and seeds. And then I put 5 more grams. So if I add all of these, I come out with 52 grams of fiber per day. That's what I am kind of changing the amount of fiber that I advise, like 50 grams per man and 40 grams for female. That's my latest prescription of fiber. So here is one of our programs where we promote the fiber with a full plate diet. Here is the participants. After we finish, we have a kind of a food demo and that we can practice a little bit on that. This is one of the research that we did with the full plate diet, and we got a grant from the Ardmore Institute of Health, and we did a clinical trial for the full plate diet. Another group from the full plate diet. And then we finished this part with the verse in the Bible in Daniel 1:8 and 15. On Daniel 1:8, Daniel was talking to the commander of the armies from Babylon. And then the report says, but Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way. And then he said, I want to have vegetables to eat and water to drink. I don't know, there is a big interpretation what vegetables being, but in any case, he was a vegetarian. He asked for a vegetarian diet, no doubts about that. Vegetables to eat means whatever you are going to get has to be not animal. Otherwise, it would be vegetables and animals, but it was just vegetables. At the end of the 10 days, they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men who ate at the royal food. So this is a Bible verse that says that a detox diet that we advise here with vegetables and fruits and things would do better for you than anything else in this world in terms of treatment, I'll tell you. But anyways, what we have to say here is that the main products, the main nutrients that you have in the foods are from the vegetable kingdom. Why? Because when God created us, he created this system before for us to eat. He created the fruits for us to eat. This is supposed to be our food. This was supposed to be what he created first for us. And then he create man and say, okay, you can eat whatever I create here for food. And is very good that we have this concept in the Bible that we initially were vegetarian. Thank you very much. Let's go to the second session later on, to the third session where we are going to talk about beans.